Welcome fellow developers to our front-end interview series. Here we will be uploading mock interviews of all the front-end topics starting from HTML, CSS, JavaScript and various frameworks and libraries including React.js, Angular and Vue.js. Okay, so what I want from you guys is to hear a question and pause the video, think of your answer in yourself, and after that you can continue seeing the video. Okay, and in that way it will really help you a lot, and please subscribe the channel because a lot of such videos will come. Okay, all right, so let's proceed to the video then. Okay. Hmm.
Okay. So, can you tell me about what is React and how does it work internally?
Okay, so React is basically a library which is built by Facebook, and it uses JS. And so basically, how React works internally, it uses virtual DOM to, like, let's suppose we know that the rendering again and again, it's a very expensive process. So to overcome this, React uses virtual DOM so that we can, like, let's say minimize the time taken to re-render. And how virtual DOM works, it basically differentiate between the earlier DOM which is rendered and the current one, like what's the difference between them, and then it only, let's say, changes those elements instead of rendering the whole screen again. So that's how React works.
So, can you tell me the process or the algorithm which is internally used to differentiate the previous version of the component or and the current version?
I think it uses React Fiber algorithm, or it's a React reconciliation.
Okay, React conciliation.
Okay.
So, do you know about diffing algorithm?
Yeah, I've heard about it, but I'm not able to recall it now.
Okay, that's something related to the uh, reconciliation and the
Okay.
internal working of React.
You can explain.
Okay, so the algorithm which you just said that comparing the current DOM tree of the whole application and the previous. So this comparing thing is called the diffing algorithm. Internally, React use that diffing algorithm to
Okay.
find the difference between the current version and the previous version. Okay. So can you tell me the life cycle of a React component?
Okay, so basically we can, I think, divide the life cycle of React component into three parts. First one is component did mount, and after that it will be component mount. After that it will be update, and after that it will be unmount. So basically we can achieve this using use effect as well. So in use effect, like basically use effect will run once when the component will be mounted, and after that we can also give some dependency array into use effect so that it like basically runs on the mounting of on the changing of those states. And after that we can also pass a callback function in use effect which will run on, we can say, like, which will run when the component unmounted. So that's the thing.
Okay. Okay. So have you heard about the ES6 features like?
Yeah, I've heard about ES6 features in JavaScript. So basically it added a lot of features such as arrow functions and map, reduce, filter, and promises, async, await, and arrow functions, and many more.
Okay. Can you share your screen and show me some example
Okay.
by running on it?
Yes, I hope my screen will be visible as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have shared a link in the chat. Can you go to that link?
Okay, sure.
So you can write
Hmm.
it. First, I want you to write something to explain the spread operator.
Okay, spread operator. Okay, all right. So basically, let's suppose I have an object A and it has some fields A equal to, or we can write B is having 4 number and C is 5. Now, spread operator can also be used to create a shallow copy as well. So let's suppose now I want to duplicate this A object again. So if I will write let B equal to A, in that case, if I will change any property of I can name it as D, let's say. So if I will change any property, if I will write something like D dot B equal to 5. Okay, now if this the t dot b property, this field will also be changed into a object as well. But that's not we want. Like so to overcome this, we can use spread operator. So spread operator, we can write something like a. In that case, like basically it will be having a, but it will create a shallow copy. And similarly, suppose let's say I want to A object and I want to add some more fields as well. So I can write something like E as 7. So now in that case, I have added one more E field in this A object and in this D object. And A object properties are as it is. Also, we can use to override this some like suppose I want to override this B proper value. So that also I can write something like this.
Can
So
you
this is
console? Can you print that?
okay. Oh, sorry. Hmm.
And A also
A.
print
Okay.
A.
Hmm.
So the so for A, B is 4, and for D, B is 6. So it's making a different instance, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
You you said something about the shallow copying. So can you elaborate it more? Like what is shallow copying and deep copying?
Okay, so basically shallow copy, it let's say copies only for the one level. What is it means? Suppose like B is 4, C is 5. So these are one level. But suppose now D is referring. Suppose there is one more. Let's erase this. And let's say there is one more property E, which is again an object. Now on creating the shallow copy, it will not, let's say it will not, what we can say, it will not create the new object for E, but it will use the address of E. So like if I will change for B's value, so that will be like duplicated, but E, it will be having the same address. So on changing at one object, it will also, we can say that it will also like impact the original object as well. So that's the difference between shallow copy. But in deep copy, everything is made, every object, all the nested objects and arrays are made differently, are made to, let's say their instance is different. So in that way, it will be deep copy.
Can you just explain it with the example
Okay, yeah,
writing it?
sure. So let's suppose B equal to 4 C5 and E has something like, let's say, X value 1. Okay, all right. Now what I will do is I will create something like let, what are variables I want to use D. So let D equal to A, something like this. Okay, now what will happen is if I will do something like D dot B equal to 5, in that case you can see that first one is D, so B5 is here and B is equal to 4 here, which is correct. But if I will do something like D dot E dot X equal to
So
5,
it's doing
hmm,
shallow copying or deep copying?
it's a shallow copy.
Oh,
So here you can see that X equal to 5 has changed to both the objects D and A, which is like, we can say that it's not a whole new instance of D. So, but if I will use something like we can use JSON dot parse JSON dot stringify, in that case it will create a whole new instance. So I will
okay.
write something like JSON dot parse JSON dot stringify, and now you can see that here is X equal to 5 and here it's 1. So now it's not changing.
So that's deep copy, right?
Yeah, that's a deep copy.
So let's go to the next question. So
Okay.
can you tell me about higher order component?
Okay, higher order components. Yeah, so basically, higher order components basically work as a function or functions which takes a component as input and returns another component as output. So basically, I have also used it at one place where I have used, let's suppose was using it for making the sidebar. The thing was that component will open in the site. Like suppose we can also see this chat which is opening in the site. Now we can use high order component here so that if we pass any component inside that high order component, that will be opening inside on the right side, something like this. So we don't need to write the CSS and transformations again and again, and we can simply use it by writing it once.
Okay. And can you tell me something about the pure component in
Okay.
React?
Yeah. So pure components are basically those components which on the, we can say that on giving similar input, the output will also be same. So basically, if the props we are passing are same, then the DOM which will be rendered, that will also be the same. So that's the pure component.
So can we use the pure component in function component?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you just write an example using showing the pure component?
Okay. Pure component, what I have read about it, pure component is basically like, uh, we don't need to like explicitly write it. We can just like basically if the props are coming same, then the return function will always be the same. So I think that's the pure component. Am I wrong?
So, yeah. So basically, pure component are mainly used in the component classes. So if you have ever see any class component in React, so we just
Okay.
extend it with the component.
Hmm.
So whenever we want to utilize, want to make it a pure component, we just extend it with pure component
Okay.
instead of component.
Okay. 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 Got it. Actually, I haven't worked on the class component much, so okay, I got it.
So, and when I talk about that, can we use the pure component in functional component? So we can't directly use a pure component extension in the functional component,
Okay.
as we just extended in the class components. So to use the pure component in functional component, we use memo. If you have heard about
Okay.
React
Yeah, I've
memo,
heard about React.memo. Yeah.
so we use React.memo to make a functional component as a pure component.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so let me provide you a code snippet. So
Okay.
can you tell me the output of this
Uh,
code?
okay. It will print three, and after like let's say 1 millisecond, so it will print three, not 0, 1, 2. Okay.
Write the output in the chat.
Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, something like this.
Okay. Through time frame.
Hmm.
Can you elaborate it like why it's
Okay.
printing?
So yeah, is it correct?
Yes, the output is
Okay.
correct. I want to reason why it's showing three.
Okay, okay, okay. So basically, why are we giving? So we can say like var it uses the same. So basically, if I will use var I equal to 0, the value will be changing 0, 1, 2. But the address, like it will be only assigned at one memory location. Like a new instance will not be created after for every var. So like suppose set timeout when it's done, then at that time var's I value will be 2. Okay, and that will be the only instance. So when I will do console.log I, so it will be only printing 3, not 0, 1, 2, because at that instance the value of I is 3.
Is there something related with the closure or the scope?
Okay. Uh, Closure, yeah, it's basically related to closure as well. So suppose set timeout, it's a different function and it's a callback function. So basically I value, we don't have I value, but we can access I value of this for loop using the closures only. So if they suppose that's basically what closure is. So basically if I'm using this callback function is using I value, but if you will see that I is not initialized here, I is of this for loop. So that is what I think use of closure is here.
So, what is? Can you just elaborate that? What is closure for you?
Okay.
Not in that
So
example, just a
hmm.
general. So,
Okay,
what is closure
so
for you?
closure is basically a function along with its lexical scope is called a closure. So yeah, basically if there is any function which is returning any function and I have defined let's say any variables or any variable outside of this function, but that inside function can also use that variable due to the closures.
Okay. What is the lexical scope that you just said?
Okay. Lexical scope is basically the scope of its parent and it goes on and on. Suppose there are four functions inside one inside another. So the let's say the scope beyond of that of the function, the lexical scope for one function will be the all the scope of its parent functions.
Okay, so if I have a single function, so if I talk about the lexical scope of it,
Hmm.
what will be the lexical scope for that function?
I think the global scope, the or if there is any variable declared globally, that can be
Yeah,
used for that
global
function.
execution context. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you just show me that code which I have just sent you in the chat?
Okay.
So if you want to correct it, what will you do? Like
We
I
can I
want
can
to
use
print.
let I can use let here. So if I will use let, so for that, like for every value of I, a new instance will be created, and that's like we will be using like for the first I, the value of I will be 0, then 1, then 2. So 0, 1, 2 will be printed.
So the scope for war or let are different or what?
Yeah, scope of var and let are different. Var has function scope, but let has block scope.
Is there any other difference than that in war and let?
Okay. So yeah, there is one more difference, that is hosting, and basically var variables are hosted, but let and const are not hosted. Basically, what we can say is if I want to use var variable, like before initializing it, I want to use it before declaring it. I want to use first of all the memory allocation phase will run of JavaScript, and memory will be initialized, and undefined will be like the value of that. So if I will print it, then undefined will be there. So if I like, I think it will be better if I do with the example b equal to 5. I can write something like this, and I will write console.log b. So in that case, it's null, but I don't know why it's null. It should be undefined here. And so this is what hosting is. We are accessing this b variable without even initializing it, without even declaring it. But in JavaScript, it's basically declared first. The variables and functions declaration are moved to the top. But if I will
You
use let and const here, then it will not be hosted. We can't access it because at that time it will be in temporal dead zone.
can you just
So if
write
I
the let?
okay.
Just copy the code and use the inspect
Okay.
of Chrome.
Uncaught reference error B is not defined.
Now use the war instead
Okay.
of let.
Oh, I think I've already like it's the wrong thing. I
Now
think I've
remove the
already. Uh,
now remove the value that you assigned at 5.
okay. I think the issue is like I've already used B with let at that time, so that's why it's saying B has already been declared.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just giving you another code snippet.
Okay.
Just write the output of this code snippet.
Okay. Okay. So first of all, start will be printed, and after that, promise resolved will be there, and after that, set timeout call will be there. I think this will be its output.
Okay. So output is correct. Can you elaborate that? Why
Okay.
it's
Okay, so basically first one is console.log start. It's a synchronous task, so it will be executed first, and that will be start will be there. And after that, set timeout and promise.resolve. So promise.resolve will be in micro task queue, and set timeout will be in macro task queue. And micro task queue have higher priority over, let's say, macro task queue. So that's why first of all, this promise, all the promises will be resolved, and after that, this set timeout will be running. So that's why the output is this.
okay? Do you know about chaining? Uh, chaining in React, functional chaining in React.
Uh, Functional chaining in React. Mm, I am not able to like recall this at that moment.
It's like when you call a function inside another function. So instead of that, you can directly call them while you are calling the first upper function. So it's like you have a parent function, and in that
Okay.
parent function, you are calling a child function. So like that, if you are calling a internal child again and again, it will be a messy code. So
Hmm.
instead of that, we what we do is we just write it like that. I'm just writing it in the chat like that. So the p is the parent function, and the
Okay.
5 is the parameter which we are passing in the parent function. Now the 3 which is written there is the parameter which we are passing in the child function.
Inside function of that. Okay. Okay.
Yes, so this is something we call chaining in the JavaScript.
Okay. 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 Got it.
Okay, so can you differentiate between map and reduce?
Okay. Map and reduce. Okay. So map and reduce, I think both are introduced in year 6 of JavaScript. Map is basically used to iterate over an array, and we return something for that every instance of the array. And reduce is basically used to, let's say, it returns single value. We can have like it takes a callback function which has two parameters, accumulator and current, and we can also initialize some initial value to it. And after like running the whole reduce function, it will return me a single value.
Can you explain it with any example?
Okay, all right. So let's suppose I have a array. Okay, now what I will do is let's say I will do a dot reduce. It will take a callback function and it will be having one initialized value, let's say 0. So what I'm doing is I want to get the sum of all the elements of this array. So it will be having two things, um, let's say accumulator and current. So what I can do is I can simply do accumulator plus accumulator equal to accumulator plus current. And if I will do print it, so I think I have to return this as well. Yeah, so in this way we can use this reduce function to get the sum of all the elements of the array.
Okay, and use map here
Okay,
just
map
to
is
iterate,
basically
just to iterate the array. Yeah.
okay. So let's take another one then, console.log.
Can you use map to double all the values, each and every element of the
Yeah,
array?
we can use. Okay, I will use it for that only. So let's say I will get item for each instance, and what I will do is I will do something like return 2 into item. I think I don't need to use return here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Working fine. Okay. Okay, that's all from my side.
Okay,
Do you
thank
have
you.
any question?
Uh, Not really, but like if you can simply like review the whole interview and tell what things I have to work on.
You have the knowledge, and I think you can work on explaining part. Like you can use more code to explain your theoretical things.
Okay,
It will make more impact whenever you use coding. Use a compiler to show the
okay,
changes to explain it. So that's the one point which I want to mention you.
okay, got it. Thank you, Shivam.
Thank you, Shika.